Alright, so I'm using the same scene. I got, a few things in here, but I got that ball texture and the plane texture. This time I want to show you something really interesting. Let's say I first start out with a ball and make it really, really big and assign a new material to it. I'm going to pick Lambert. This Lambert 8, I'm going to call it the sun. Very ominous. And I'm going to put its ambient light source way up. Then I'm going to put another ball in the scene and assign it the purple. Okay. Then we'll render that out. Very cool. So it's lighting it very well. It's got the spectral highlight in there. And now what I want to do is, instead of using lights, I'm going to use this type of light to light the ball. And then go into rendering. Of course, I could still bake shadows, but really there is none. But that doesn't really matter. What I want to do is make a nice smooth gradient going across the ball. So I'll bake shadows. Same as before. Now you can see it says mental ray computing final gathering points. And then it's rendering the image. Final gathering will help fix a lot of the problems that occur. There's no doubt about it. Because it is looking for bounced light, it is calculating light in the scene. It's doing a lot of the behind the scenes that needs to be done to calculate for better shadows. So if you now added a ground plane and you added a shadow to it, you would see a huge improvement. But what I like is the fact that it does such a, look at this, how smooth that is up until right here, and this is where the triangles are. But look how smooth that is. That's amazing. So it is all in the type of lighting you use to get the quality you need for this. Keep that in mind. Let's say I had a material out here under the mental ray. There's all kinds of, like, here's MIA material. Okay, MIA materials look like this. I'm just gonna click that one and click this. The MIA material can be just about anything I want. Copper, glass, whatever. So maybe copper 90%. Then I'll assign that to that ball. They turn black at first because they can't preview real time. But let's bake that one out. This time I'm not going to do shadows. I just want to bake the material. This means if you had an axe, if you had a sword, if you had anything that's made out of copper, you could practically just bake the type of lighting right into it. But again, remember the rule. If the lighting switches on you and all of a sudden you have a new spectral highlight point, it's not going to move. What for, like swords and blades and things like that, or amulets, this works really good. As long as if you keep it in mind that the spectral highlight's not going to change. So you can see that it's taking a little longer to actually calculate this time because it's having such a complex material. Yeah, it's definitely going to take a little bit longer. So we'll keep this rendering, and I'll just kind of yammer on a little bit. Dielectric material over here is pretty amazing. This one is good for glass. But the MI material can be anything. It could be glass. So keep that in mind when you go switching it out. It's got a lot of presets and changed into a lot of different materials. Also, there's some other lightings in here that work well with this setup. Some mental ray lighting that acts a little bit different than the actual stock lighting here in Maya. And we're almost done because I'm running out of yammering points. Alright, there we go. So now I have a gold sphere. And notice since I took off bake shadows, it looks oh so amazing. Alright. One last thing before we go to the next thing. Another thing you could do is a thing called normals soften edge. So by softening the edge and then baking it, you're going to find that it reduces this type of effect. Okay? Alright, so let's go on to the next video where we get a little bit more experience with the baking process and what we can do with it.